What's up world, in today's video we're going to show you how to make your very own biodegradable hard soap. We'll be covering how soap is made, what is lye and can you use anything else, and showing you practically how to make a very simple coconut oil soap bar. Hit the timestamp in the comments below if you'd like to skip ahead to the practical section. I'm Imran Samuels and welcome to our 4th resilience video. Okay, so how is soap made? Soap is made by the action called saponification, which sounds very much like a Harry Potter spell. Saponification. But it's made by the action of fats with a strong base or alkali substance. The base used to make soap is either sodium hydroxide, aka caustic soda, or potassium hydroxide, aka caustic potash. Together, either of these are commonly referred to as lye. When the fats and the base mix, they react to create saponins or soap and glycerine. So it's very important to understand that you end up with completely different substances chemically compared to the fat and lye that you start with. I say this because many people get scared when they learn that you've got to use caustic soda or potash to make soap. And with good reason. Caustic soda and caustic potash is extremely corrosive, so it can be dangerous to work with. So it's very important that you take the necessary safety precautions when making soap. This includes wearing protective gloves, protective eyewear, protective mask, preferably long clothes, and working in a well-ventilated area. And can you make soap without caustic soda or caustic potash? No. Unfortunately, there is absolutely no way to make soap or saponins from fat without caustic soda or caustic potash. We'll be focusing on caustic soda today because we're going to be making a hard soap bar. Okay, so how do you know how much lye to use in your recipe? Every different type of oil is made up of a unique combination of fatty acids. Fatty acids such as lauric acid, myristic acid, oleic acid, etc. There's a wide variety of fatty acids. Each of these fatty acids react with a very specific quantity of lye. So how do you know how much lye to use when different oils contain different fatty acids in different combinations? Thankfully, chemists and pharmacists have studied and documented the fatty acid profiles of a wide range of oils, and also exactly how much sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide each oil requires for saponification. So all you have to do is go to a reputable soap calculator website, punch in the type of soap that you're going to make, whether it's liquid or solid soap, your units of measurement, and your superfatting level. And then you select your type of oil. You can see these calculators have a wide variety of oils and butters. And voila, it gives you the amount of lye that you need to use. Also the amount of liquid, which refers to the water content that you got to dilute the lye with, and your total batch yield. The type of oils that you use depends on the qualities or properties that you want to have in your final soap product. The different fatty acids in oils provide different properties. For example, some fatty acids are more nourishing and conditioning for the skin. Other fatty acids provide more cleansing power. Others are firmer at room temperature for a harder bar, while others bubble much more than others. So your choice of oils is entirely dependent on your qualities or properties that you want in the final soap product. Okay, so one last important thing to understand before we get to the soap making process. That is the concept of superfatting. Superfatting simply refers to adding more fat or oil than is required to react with the amount of lye in your recipe. The benefit of superfatting is that you end up with some oil in the final soap bar, which provides for some more moisturizing benefits. If we look at a famous example, Dove superfats their bars by 25%. That's why they say it's a quarter moisturizing bar. Another benefit is that you reduce the risk of having unreacted lye left over in your final soap product. The disadvantages are that the more you superfat, the more greasy, soft and less cleansing your final soap product becomes. A general rule of thumb is to not superfat less than 2% or more than 20% at most, with 5% being the most common superfat percentage applied. Okay, so now that you've gotten a foundational understanding, let's make some soap. We're going to be making a very simple hard soap bar using only coconut oil and superfatting at 20%. So first things first, you're going to need some protective gloves, protective eyewear, and a protective mask. For safety, always keep a vinegar solution close by, as it will neutralize any lye if you do get it on your skin. Simply dilute about a cup's worth to 5 liters of water. You're also going to need a mold. Now these spray tins work really nicely, but you can use anything from cardboard boxes to wooden boxes to silicone molds. You'll need a jug or jar for your lye solution, as well as a mixing spoon. For the soap batter, you're going to need a large bowl, which can be either glass, stainless steel, or food grade plastic, but not aluminium. To mix it all up, you're going to need a hand blender. You'll definitely need a scale. You can't do this without a scale. And optionally, you're going to need a thermometer. Now, any thermometer will do. I just prefer these infrared ones because that's much faster. To prevent spillage in your incubator, you're going to need either cling wrap or a container which is larger than your soap mold. For your incubator, you're going to need a blanket, and the thicker or the more the better. Alternatively, you can use a Wonderbag, which works wonderfully. Okay, so for your ingredients, you're going to need 1 kilogram of coconut oil, refined or virgin. Make sure it's in a liquid state, so you might need to heat it up beforehand. And for our lye solution, we're going to need 380 grams of water, as well as caustic soda. The most accessible way to get caustic soda is in the form of drain cleaner, which you can find at most hardware stores and retailers. I've never seen a drain cleaner product that doesn't just contain caustic soda, but just to be safe, make sure it only contains caustic soda with no other additives, like this common brand Powerfix. Unless you're working with a silicone mold, to line your mold you're going to need some baking paper. Okay, so to get started, first things first, line your mold with the baking paper. Make sure you concentrate the creases at the shorter side so that your longer sides are nice and smooth, leaving the majority of your block to be a nice and smooth block. Okay, so now it's time to put on some safety gear. So very gently weigh out 146 grams of caustic soda, as well as 380 grams of water. Bear in mind that if your water is hard, this might affect the quality of the soap product. Now we're going to gently pour the caustic soda into the water. And just a side tip, never ever pour the water onto the caustic soda, as this could result in a little eruption. So you'll see the solution starts off quite cloudy, but as it dissolves it's going to get clearer, and that's what we're waiting for. In this process you'll also feel it releasing quite a lot of heat, and this can actually get up to about 70 degrees Celsius. So after about 5 to 10 minutes you'll see it go from cloudy to clear, and then you're good to go. Next up, we'll weigh out 1 kilogram of coconut oil. And ideally we want to have the temperature of our oils within 15 degrees of the lye solution. It's also very important, and I can't stress this enough, to measure your oil as well as your lye accurately. Otherwise we might risk having underactive lye in the final soap product. Okay, now we slowly pour our lye solution into our oil and then give it a couple of stirs with our spoon. And now here's where the magic happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to alternate between the hand blender and our spoon. We're going to do 3 seconds on with our hand blender and 3 seconds stirring. Now we're doing this alternation because we don't want to burn out the motor on the hand blender, but also because we want to adequately mix the soap batter around. So just keep an eye on your hand blender. If it feels like it's getting too hot, just give it a rest. So with coconut oil, this mixing process will take about 10 to 15 minutes. With other oils, especially oils that are liquid at room temperature, will take a bit longer. And what we're looking for is something called trace. So this is when the batter becomes like a pudding-like consistency. So you can see it starting to thicken up now. And if we take the spoon out and the droppings of batter kind of falls and sits on top of the rest of the batter, then we know we've reached trace. Now it's at this point, just before we pour into the mold, where we would add any additives, things like essential oils, fragrances, any colorants, any herbs, etc. Now you want to move quickly after reaching trace to get this into the incubator, as we want to try to keep as much of the heat in as possible. As it heats our catalyst, that's going to speed up the process and allow the soap to fully saponify. So you're just going to gently pour the soap batter into the mold and scoop out every last bit. And then once it's all in there, gently tap or give your mold a shake side to side just to get any air bubbles out. And then get it into your incubator. So you're going to either just wrap the container with a blanket or blankets, or you're going to place it inside your Wonderbag. Okay, so now it's got to incubate for 24 hours. Do not check on it, do not open the incubator until the 24 hours has passed. Okay, so after 24 hours, we can take it out of the incubator. See that the baking paper comes off nice and easy. At this stage, the block's still quite soft, so you can take any knife to cut it into the sizes that you want. So I like to start by cutting off the short ends where I've concentrated the creases, and I like to take off as thin of a piece as possible on these ends to limit any wastage. So once you've cut your block into individual bars, it now needs to cure for about 4 to 6 weeks. So you're going to place it in an open container or a drying rack, and in this period it's going to slowly complete the saponification process, and it's also going to dry out, which will give your soap a much longer shelf life.
Okay, so that's it from us for today, guys. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful, please hit that like and subscribe button, and let us know in the comments below whether this was easy to follow and whether you'd be making your own soap at home. And stay tuned to our channel for our next video coming up soon.